Welcome to this week's One Image My Edit. So this week I'm going to be showing you a tool that will enable you to enhance, play around and manipulate a portrait. So this tool I would recommend you use sparingly. It's not something that should be overused because it can have a real impact on your portraits. So yeah, this is something that is going into the realms of manipulation, but it is good fun and you can do a lot with it. So what I'm going to be showing you is a filter called Liquify. So all you need to do is open up your image and then come up to the top, select filter and then come down to Liquify, or you can press Shift Command X and that will bring it up as well. So as soon as you bring it up, it will bring you into the Liquify section. Now there are some tools on the top left hand corner which you can use, but that is for another tutorial. I'll show you that on a different day. So looking at the actual portrait, you can see there's these white lines around the side of the face, and if I hover over the face you can see there's the outline. So Photoshop's algorithm has already picked up the aspects of the face. If I go to the eyes, you can see that that's already selected, so is the nose, so is the mouth. So it's pretty advanced. It's very good at detecting all these different things. Now what we can do with Liquify is we can actually start adjusting elements of the face. Now there's two ways you can use this. You can use it to have lots of fun, and you know, if you've got pictures of friends that you want to make make them look a little bit silly, then you can do that with this. But this is primarily used when retouching beauty portraits, and it's just really fine-tuning faces so that they can look symmetrical. And I'm not an advocate for it. I believe the way things are with the industry and a lot of the young girls and boys, male and female, there's a lot of issues there around looks, and they don't realize how much retouching is done. So I'm not an advocate for this, but like I say, it's something that you can use for a bit of fun, you can use it also just to tweak things if you want to. So you'll see that it's already selected the face, and it will say there face 1. Okay. Now sometimes there can be a group of people, so if you've got more than one person, then you can scroll down and select face 1, face 2, face 3. So what you have to start with is the eyes. So if you look, you can see obviously we've got the eyes, eye height, eye width, eye tilt and eye distance. Now what you'll also see is that there's a chain in the middle there, and what that does, if you select that means that if I make an adjustment to the eye size, it will do it to both the left and the right. So if I unclick that, you can see if I start moving this slider, you see that the left eye there is getting smaller, and if I push it up, it's getting bigger. And you can just double click, and no, you can't bring it back to 0 by just bring it back to 0 there with the slider. Or you can just type in 0 and it will reset it. Now the idea with this is that you want symmetry, so by clicking on that chain you can see now that they will both move to a different size, so you can just fine-tune it however you like it. So if someone's got an eye that's a little bit bigger, then obviously you can adjust it. You can also actually do all of these actions here. You can see the arrows that are moving, and you can push and pull, but I'll get onto that in a minute. So then you've got the eye height. So again, let's click the chain and you can make them bigger and smaller. So the eye height on that is just really, it's affecting how big that is, but it's affecting this section here, so the eyelid almost. Then you have the eye width, so we can make them wider, we can make them smaller depending on what you want to do. If I take this chain off, I can just affect the left hand side eye there, or the right hand side. You can see there, it's just affecting that. And then we have the eye tilt, so we can turn them in and we can push them out. So you can start to see that you could have a little bit of fun with this. So if you've got someone, a friend that you really want wind up, then this is a brilliant tool for that, I must admit. So the eye distance, so we can stretch that, or we can push it right in, and you can see how much you can do that. So, you know, just fine tuning this, you can get the perfect proportions. That's the idea with this. Then we have the nose height. So we can shorten the nose, the distance of the nose, or we can elongate it. So depending on, you know, a particular picture, you can do that. And like I said, if you can't actually come over to the nose, click in the middle, you can see that is doing that same feature. So it's up to you if you want to click on the face or use the slider. Then we've got the nose width. So we can stretch that, or we can thin it out. So it's almost digital surgery that we're doing here. So you can just play around with that until you get the desired result. This is really interesting because the mouth, this picks up a lot of information on the mouth. So you can make someone feel a little bit sad, or you can make them feel really happy. You can see there that it does quite a good job. So you can really tweak that just to, you know, to your liking. And you can also do a little bit of lipo. So if you want a thicker lip or a thinner lip, you can. And the same with the bottom as well. So you can shrink that or make that bigger, entirely up to you. And then you can actually make the width of the mouth smaller or bigger. So you can really push that just to make the lips a little bit more fuller. And then the mouth height. So you can actually start to open the mouth, which is pretty amazing. And if you look, if I set this back to 0, you'll see that if we look really closely within this shot, you can see that actually that she's got her 2 teeth here, and there are actually a couple of teeth underneath, and Photoshop actually picks that out. You can see there that it just elongates them teeth, so it looks really real. It really does. So you can do all sorts of things with that. So yeah, you can play around with that until your heart's content, and just fine tune things. I prefer to use the sliders because you can kind of look at the numbers then and match up what needs to be done. And then we come to the forehead. So if we look at the forehead here, there's a lot we can do with this as well. So we can elongate that forehead there, or we can shorten it down. So again, depending on what you want to achieve, it's entirely up to you. So for a more youthful look, then you kind of make that forehead a little bit larger there. And then again, we've got chin height. So we can raise or lower the chin. So you could make that shorter, or you can make that longer. This is great, especially if you're doing stuff on yourself, because I know a lot of people use this on themselves. So you know, if you've got you know, got a little bit more there than you like, then you can certainly help along your jawline, which is quite nice. But that's the chin height, and then we come to the jawline here, and we can widen it, or we can bring that right in, and you can see how much you can actually reduce that, but it doesn't distort the image. It doesn't affect any other part. Yes, it's bringing in the neck, but that's because it's within the face range there. So there's a lot you can do there. So from a retouching point of view, the female jawline tends to be a lot narrower, and the male is a lot wider for a more masculine look. So you can, you know, obviously you can tweak that to however you like. And then finally we've got the face width. So this is a global adjustment, and you can see it's these 2 lines on the outside here. So what this will do is, as you can see, it will push the face in, or you can stretch it out depending on what you want to do. So again, the female side of retouching is to push that in. But again, it really depends on what you're doing, what you want to achieve. So you can certainly tweak that in. Now this is good when you've got distortion. So this is a tool that I would use when you've got distortion, meaning that you may have shot a portrait that's been shot on a wide lens. So, you know, something like, say, a 50mm lens on a full frame, you'll get this slight distortion. So this is a really, really good way of just tweaking that just to get the correct proportions. But you'll see that when I do this, the actual eyes and mouth and nose are not affected. So they've been really isolated there. So it is literally just that top section there of the head and the cheeks. So it's a really good way of just bringing things down. So once you've done that, you can then just say okay, and you will then go up to your history, okay, and you can then see the difference from the before and after. So this is the after, obviously, and this was the before. So you can see there's a lot that can be achieved there, and it really does help with the contouring, and this is more close to what she actually looks like. This here being on quite a distorted, it's quite a distorted picture because it was shot on a wide angle lens. So that's actually closer to reality than what the original is. So it's you know, if you look at it that way, that if you're doing portraits, you can kind of, you know, help things along and make people look a little bit more natural. But again, you know, this is something that I would recommend doing sparingly because you know, some people may not like this, but if you're doing personal projects and things like that, then obviously it will really help along, especially if you're doing fine art portraits. A lot of fine art photographers use this to get a more, it's almost a dream kind of fantasy look, where you can have eyes that are slightly bigger and things like that. They use this on for children and things like that, because they just play around with the proportions of the face to get a more impactful look. Okay, so like I said, use this sparingly, but you can obviously have a lot of fun with this. You can really make someone look very odd, and it, like I say, it can be fun. So you know, if you want to mess around and use this jokingly, then you know, I'm sure your friends will absolutely adore you for this. So you know, you can really play around and you know, mess around, do a lot of fun things with it. So you know, we can make all sorts of adjustments if we want to, and really play around with this, like I said. Okay, so yeah, but it does really help, and you can see there, you know, the main use I believe really is for distortion. It really does help with distortion there. So it just helps your pictures come along a little bit better. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Have a look, play around with yourself. Like I said, it's always less is always more with things like this. But it's a tool that a lot of people are not aware of. So this is something that you can use for your portraits, just to fine tune and refine them to make them look a little bit better. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I will see you on the next video. Take care. Bye bye.